while I do that, let me start recording here. 3, 2, and 1. Hey, everybody, welcome to a very special edition of Mat Men. This is a all-in wrap-up. I'm Andrew Zarian. I will be joined by Rich in a couple of minutes. We're having some problems getting him on the line, but today was a pivotal announcement by All Elite Wrestling. Very humongous story here that's happening, and that's a lot of the acquisitions. 2 shows have been announced for All Elite Wrestling for AEW. One will take place May 25th at the MGM Grand, their arena there that fits about 16,000 people in Las Vegas. The other one being that there will be a second event, which that's going to take place in Jacksonville, the home of AEW. I assume that that's going to be Labor Day weekend, or sometime close to that. Their TV deal is rumored to start in September. So that'll be a major part as to why they're going to Jacksonville for this. But I do want to talk to you guys and figure out what you guys think of this announcement. Obviously, they did the announcement in a parking lot, and it wasn't the highest production value, but you do get a good sense of where their mind is at and how they're going to platform this and what they're going to do. So let's begin with who they acquired. I'm going to go down to message Rich, actually, because he's supposed to come on. I can't get Skype to work, so I don't know what's going on with that. So Britt Baker obviously signed. We knew about that. We also knew that the Young Bucks and Cody and Hangman were all signed to deals. MJF was announced today, along with Joey Janela. Now, Joey Janela is a very interesting thing because he was, there was a major star on him for a while now. I'm trying to tell Rich right now what to do. There you go. That's a Windows sign. Windows is back. Joey Janela was a major breakaway star from the All In show, and he happened to get injured right after that. I think I saw him at Evolve right after that, and he got hurt probably the next weekend. The guy has something really cool with him. He has a nice following. I'm very surprised that they announced him now. I thought he was under contract with somebody, but I could have been wrong. So Joey Janela we got Penelope Ford, we got MJF, we got Pac, formerly Neville. Neville decided to go over there, which is great. That's humongous for them. I'm going down the list here. I don't know what was a bigger announcement, that Neville's there or Jericho signed with All Elite Wrestling. Considering he was teasing that he's going to go to Japan, he's going to do stuff in Japan. Now we know that he is not, or maybe he still is. We don't know that, right? We don't know if he's going to stick with Japan or he's going to leave or he's going to do double stuff. But this has to really be a thorn in the WWE's rear end. The fact that you have lost Chris Jericho, you don't have the accessibility to call him for a Raw 25th anniversary or call him for the Rumble or call him for Mania. That's out the window right there. You have kind of, the momentum has shifted with the core. And I'm not talking about the casual fans. Listen, I was watching the chat room for that All Elite announcement. And if you looked at the chat room, it was terrible. Wrestling fans are miserable, and it's very team-based. This is kind of reminiscent of WCW versus WWF. No matter what WCW did, if it was good, it was terrible for a WWF fan. If you were a WCW fan, WWF sucked, in your opinion. So it's kind of reminiscent of that. And I'm surprised to see that in 2019, especially considering wrestling has evolved and information has evolved in the way that we consume stuff. So this is the beginning of the momentum and the line kind of changing and things kind of moving. This is the beginning of this. So I want to know from the chat room. Obviously, we got about 100 people watching right now, which is cool because I just turned this camera on and we're here. I want to get from you guys, do you think this is going to be a threat to WWE, or do you think this is going to be a solid number 2? Because from all the rumors that we're hearing, $100 million invested or going to be invested, the potential Turner deal, which is seeming like it's becoming more and more of a reality, We reported this a couple of weeks ago, and it's kind of falling into place. And you could kind of read between the lines, right? A lot of people say no, it's not going to Turner. Couple points here. Ted Turner has nothing to do with Turner Broadcasting. Has nothing to do with TNT. Has not had anything to do with TBS. Any of them for a quite some time. He was ousted essentially when the AOL Time Warner merger happened with Turner. So he has nothing to do with this. So it's not revenge. It's not the same player. The company has totally changed over the last 18 years. So it's not the same Turner Broadcasting that did not want wrestling. It's a very different company now. They're realizing that there's an open market and they want to capitalize on this. So at this point, this is still really new. And a lot of this is speculation. But a lot of it you could kind of read between the lines where the Khans are very smart guys. Tony Khan is a very, very smart guy. He's not going to invest money like this into something that doesn't have a significant TV deal. It's just impossible. And, Pop TV means nothing. It's not going to be something that, you would essentially imagine that people would lose their minds over. It's not going to be an Esquire. It's not going to be a whatever channel. Even Paramount. I know Paramount was bidding heavily for this. The story that came out that I read, which I found very interesting, was that I got to be careful how I say this. So Turner had initially agreed, and then they started lowballing them. And the interest based on the internet and what people and the buzz and social media became so much that other brands started bidding on them. And they started trying to get them. And when that happened, Turner kind of backed out and said, okay, guys, let's do it. The report is it's an 8-figure deal, low 8-figure deal. Significant time, I think 3 to 5 years. 3 years would be more likely that this would be a TV deal for. And a lot of the production will be covered by Turner Broadcasting. Now, again, speculation, right? A lot of speculation. So let's see how that happens. Let's see if that's true. And I still cannot add him. I don't know why. So I'm going to do a teaser here for you guys. So let's begin with a couple of things here, right? MG Geek, our admin, has been working on a list here for us to look at, and he just shared it with me. So I'm going to go down the list. I had to request authorization on that list because I can't access it from this computer, so you got to okay that. Let's go down the chat and see what people are saying. So Chris Jericho is now in the alumni section of the WWE roster. As of a couple days ago, he was on the main roster. That is actually very interesting. So that fell apart. So on Monday, he had a conversation with them. And WWE was heavily bidding on Kenny. They were still hopeful up until a couple days ago. And now they have kind of realized that they're not getting him. And the disappointment has kicked in. That would have been a big get for them. I don't know how instrumental it would have been for WWE at that point, but they were really aggressively attempting to get Kenny Omega, and it does not look like it happened. Listen, sometimes it's not about throwing all the money in the world, right? If all your friends, and this is the reality, and a lot of people are, first of all, whatever Kenny chooses is the best for him, and that's whatever. It's good for all of us, right? More wrestling. He's going to have great matches. It doesn't really matter to me, but it does say something when all of your friends, guys that you travel up and down the road, are at one place, and you have that offer, and you have an offer to make that place a legitimate. I mean, this is like Flair and WCW at that time starting out, and Flair not being there. I would assume it would be, and actually, that's actually a terrible analogy because WCW was established at that point. This is Flair and NWA peak era, leaving 1987, 1988. Leaving when the competition is getting hot, 1986, leaving then. So this is a major shift in the momentum of what is the number 2 company. Now, I don't know, the Impact, I feel terrible for Impact Wrestling. They barely have a TV deal right now. They're on the Pursuit channel with, it's their own network, essentially. It's Anthem's channel, so they're on their own thing. They're also on Twitch, which is great for them. They're going to be streaming on Twitch. going on after SmackDown on Fridays in the fall. So I don't know how that time slot's gonna do, but you have to think about Ring of Honor and where this leaves them. You know, these are guys. A lot of these guys are people that would have been in Ring of Honor. The Young Bucks were single-handedly responsible for a lot of the boom in Ring of Honor. So was the Bullet Club. That whole Bullet Club in Ring of Honor was a major, major pivotal point for them. And to kind of get the shift and the momentum to kind of build a set and kind of get better lighting and things like that, it gave them the ability. Now, if you remove the Bucks and you move Hangman and you move Cody and you remove Kenny, what are they left with, right? They got to now rely on their own talent. Also coming out this week is that Japan is continuing their relationship with Ring of Honor and not pursuing a relationship with AEW at this point. But I'm willing to bet that once that Ring of Honor agreement is over, they're going to now move over to AEW because they don't want to lose Kenny Omega either. They have a whole North American expansion plan. How do you expand in North America without the number one non-WWE star in the world on your card? That's something to think about, right? That's really something to think about. So right now you have Chris Jericho, you have Pac, you have Hangman Page, and potentially Kenny Omega to be your top 4, including Cody also. So top 5 that we kind of could assume is going there. That is tremendous. That's really big. That's a nice core. But who else do you sign? Who else are the people that you sign? I'm gonna read some of these questions in the chat, guys. Submit your questions here. Also, hit the subscribe button. If this is the first time that you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button on the bottom. I hate saying it because it sounds so cringy. Hit the subscribe button, but it's necessary. If the cons in AEW are smart, they offer Omega a 10-year deal. There's no 10-year deal. Nobody would commit to that. I believe it'll probably be a 3-year deal, which is law. That's a good contract. Cody and the Bucks definitely have a 5-year deal. I don't know about anybody else, and I wouldn't think anybody should sign anything longer than a 3-year deal. I'm not here to change the world. AEW is not here to change the world. We're going to change the whole universe, said Chris Jericho. Is that shots fired? I think so. I think maybe that's a little bit. Listen, you got to look at a guy like Jericho. He's 48 years old. He's always doing something different. And in the WWE, it's a different business now. It's a totally different business. And sometimes they don't like that. Here's some of the news. So let's go down this. MG Geek has sent me a great list of people that are signed. Right now, you got Cody, Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, Hangman Page, Chris Daniels, Scorpio Sky, Frankie Kazarian, MJF, Joey Janela, Pac, OWE faction, I forgot the name of the faction, and Chris Jericho. I guarantee that OWE stuff is for Chinese distribution, which would be really big. For the women's roster, you got Brandy Rhodes, you got Britt Baker, and Penelope Ford. There's a whole lot of independent women talent on the indie scene, and of course on unsigned people that are going to be really big with them. Are they going to open up a dojo or team up with a guy like Lance Storm? I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. Where's Kushida going? Kushida's going to NXT. That's a done deal. Shouldn't we be talking about the creative side of things? Yeah, that's another major thing, right? You could have all the talent in the world, but if your creative is terrible and you don't have captivating storylines, how does that separate you from everybody else? Right? The major thing about WWE is that they have all the talent in the world. This is the most talented roster that the WWE has ever had, ever. And it kind of falls to the wayside because the TV's long and exhausting. I mean, last night, I cover this for a living, and I could barely get through. And that's terrible. You're at the main event spot and you're not excited about what's the main event. That's not great, right? But listen, this is not dethroning the WWE ever. This is not happening. That you got a long way for that to happen. A lot of mistakes have to happen. WCW would not have even gone away if the merger didn't happen. That's just the reality of how it works. Does Chris Jericho get involved in creative? I'm sure he's going to have a locker room position because at Wrestle Kingdom, you had him being an advisor to a lot of the young talent, and they were going to him after their matches, asking him for his opinion. So I think he's going to play a vital role with that. Also, Billy Gunn, possibly an agent. I'm hearing reports of that. Any news word on the TV deal? There's nothing official, but I'm willing to bet that it's Turner. By the way that this looks, the way that this really looks, there's no way you're signing Chris Jericho without having a TV deal, a major TV deal. It's not happening. He's not an idiot. He never went to TNA because of that, because of the incompetence and the lack of positioning. They're anticipating that this is going to be a major network with a really solid time slot. So whether it's TNT or TBS, it's going to happen. Has AJ Styles re-signed with WWE? I have not heard, but I know he's in contract negotiations now. Gallows and Anderson would be two great, and their contract is ending soon, by the way. Gallows and Anderson would be two great names for them to get. And Carl Anderson could have a great singles run also. Luke Gallows could have a great singles run also. Jim Ross is named because he has the same agent as a lot of these guys. Barry Bloom is working with them on a consulting level, and he represents Jericho, Goldberg, and Jim Ross. Okay, BJ Whitmer, and okay, I knew about Whitmer, but I didn't know Billy Gunn was official. Okay, so that's that. Billy Gunn and BJ Whitmer are producers, which is good. These are guys that understand the business. They don't have a TV deal. This would have been a time to say it. No, they don't want to say it. That's the thing, because it's not. TV contracts take a very long time to finish. You could have a not a letter of intent, but you could essentially have everything in place. In order for you have X amount of days to show everything, right? It's very complicated the way that it works. You have X amount of days to show everything, and unless something catastrophic happens, it's not. That's the only way this thing falls apart. They don't have the official announcement, and also you have to remember, Turner's not going to announce their fall lineup now. We have to remember that because this is looking to be more like a September thing. So you're going to get the first show, the major show in November, in May. Then you're going to get the second one in maybe August or September, probably September. And then you'll have the announcement that follows. That'll be announced that TV's happening right after that. A lot of this is out of their hands, and it's the way that television works. Gallows and Anderson are reportedly stuck in WWE till September. Okay, this is a perfect timing. TV starts in September. Better TV deal will be in place for Double or Nothing. It's essentially finished. Everybody's very that I've spoken to. Everybody's very much this is a done deal. And also, you got to also remember this, right? If you're Turner Broadcasting and you're thinking, okay, listen, we got something hot right now. This is happening. This is moving. Things are happening. But we want that one guy. Who's the one guy right now? Kenny Omega. Okay, so we're only going to give you this deal if you get Kenny. That's a possibility. That's how TV works. And most likely they're waiting for Kenny's contract to end. And they do the big announcement. And then the Turner thing, or let's assume it's Turner right now, because more likely it is. It continues into that. Where is WCW and ECW now? Dead. Nowhere. WWE owns them. $2 billion from Fox. And it's nothing but trash TV. Well, they haven't done anything yet. They haven't gotten that $2 billion yet either. Haven't any of you wrestling fans heard of Slow Drop? Yeah, it takes time, dude. It takes time. They're not gonna show their hand right now. Things take time. TV's a very different business. It's not a blogger doing this. Does this permanently blackball Jericho? No, it doesn't. He's not on bad terms with them. Kenny's not going to WWE. Not that I'm against it. It doesn't make sense with everything that's happening right now. Do you think Kenny Omega versus Styles will happen at WrestleMania? No, it will not happen at WrestleMania. Not happening. Sorry, guys. Let's see. I still think Kenny's number 30. You could be hopeful. AEW will be owned by WWE in a few years. No, it won't. Guys, it's not. It's not happening. This is, I know. A lot of you guys are huge WWE, so am I, but we got to be a little realistic, right? Billy Gunn is announced on their Twitter as the first sign producer. Great. So where does this leave New Japan? New Japan is taking a hit with this because they're losing their top guy. Ring of Honor is losing a lot of these guys. TNA is going to lose a lot of these guys. So here's the thing. It's not going to hurt WWE at all. And this is the thing. It's more going to hurt guys that like MLW. They're going to get hurt. MLW is going to get hurt. Evolve is going to get hurt because they're an extension of WWE and these guys in developmental. NXT is going to get hurt to an extent. Why would you go to NXT if you know that you're going to get a better push on main TV? You know, if AEW existed, do you think a guy like Nakamura would have gone there? Do you think a guy like AJ Styles would have gone there? Probably AJ, because there would have been a bidding war for him. Brian Cage would be great in AEW. I don't know. I've heard nothing about that. I like your room. Thank you. It's my office. My studio. Sabu. Now, you guys are cracking me up. Sabu's not going to. Kenny going to WWE, says Bobby Jones. Listen, here's the thing. Let's again, I'm going to explain it like this. If all your friends are hanging out at one bar and they invite you and you got free drinks, why would you go to the other bar? That's really the simplest way of putting this. Enchante is not signing with anybody this year. I expect it to be expect it to be much like Impact, probably better, but it won't be competing with WWE. Craig, here's the thing: Impact never had the money. You're talking about $100 million, and they never had a roster that. Unfortunately for Impact, they had such a stink on them from the bad years, where it was almost impossible for them to kind of break out of that. Unfortunately, and Impact puts on great matches. They put on great TV, but it goes nowhere when you have no TV time slot. When you already have majority of the hardcore wrestling fans crapping on you. And that's unfortunate. That really is unfortunate if that's the case, because you want a place for these guys to work. I would go to the bar that 3.5 million is not a real number. That's not an accurate number, and I verified that. It's up there, but it's not a $3.5 million downside guarantee. That was a assumption that it was 3.5, but they did throw a lot of money. You think any guys currently in NXT will go to AEW? I'm sure if their contracts are up. I'm sure. Friends booking shows. Remember, WCW. Yeah, so that's another thing. That's actually that's one of the better questions here. Who should be booking the show? The hope is, benefit of the doubt, that these guys are a little bit more confident. They're not as affected by the business, and they're going to really attempt to do something beyond for them. Listen, also, Cody is not a selfish guy, and the Young Bucks are not selfish either. So we have to remember this. AJ did not sign for $3.5 million. Maybe he's making that now, but that wasn't his deal. I know, guys. A lot of you are hopeful that he goes. It's not happening. I hope. Listen, maybe anything could change, right? Maybe something changes. Maybe they throw him $10 million and that changes everything. But as of right now, the way that things are moving, he's going to AEW. Impact will reportedly be willing to work with AEW. That would be very smart of Impact to do if they go when they do that. You know, I was going to do this for a couple minutes, but why don't we keep doing this? Because we got about 200 something people here between the two chats. So I'm just going to take your questions here. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I'll be curious if the TV deal, most of the tapings would be in Jacksonville, like Orlando. I know that they want to be a touring company, so I don't know how they're going to run TV. But according to them, it's going to be live. Let's see. Billy Gunn is an agent. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up here, guys. Not to be forgotten, AEW will pay men and women equal. I don't know what that means. So I can't. I don't know what paying equal to men and women actually means. How they're going to gauge equality for drawing power and things. Because remember, it's not about just having a role, right? It's your draw power. It's your how much can you draw at the gate? How much can you draw in ratings? How much merch are you selling? So I don't know. Maybe that what they're going to do is that the base salary for anybody is coming in. That's the base salary. Doesn't matter if it's men or women. And then you go from there. I have no idea how they're going to do that. The other rumor is that they may potentially, they're looking into offering insurance. So that would be the first time a wrestling promotion has ever even gone that way to offer insurance. So let's see what happens. YouTube for TV makes sense. No, they're not going to YouTube. They're going to an actual cable company that's going to pay them a lot of money. Will there be exclusivity clauses in the town's contract? That's a good question. I don't know. Like, you look at Jericho, I don't know how much, because he has the name, right? So they would want a Chris Jericho, but I don't know if it'll be an exclusivity thing where he can't go to Japan or do indie dates. I'm not saying Jericho's going to do indie dates, but I don't know how they're going to do their contracts. I haven't read that at all. Let's just assume that you're signed. OWE is owned by Dragon Gate. So it would seem that AEW would be partnering with Dragon Gate. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. That's actually a great find. I did not know that they were owned by Dragon Gate. Let's see what else. I'll be curious to see if the TV deal is taped. Okay, we said that one. I'm looking at 2 chat rooms here. So, this is all interesting stuff. And looking back, I'm 35. I don't know. I'm assuming that the audience is a little bit younger than that, but the buzz is something reminiscent of 1998. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but there's the buzz on the online community is phenomenal, and that's great for the business. So it doesn't even matter. It's good for WWE when there's buzz. It's good for New Japan when there's buzz. Doesn't matter if AEW's doing great. That's bringing eyeballs to pro wrestling. I spoke about P1s and P2s the other day, and a lot of people got it that are in marketing and in television. Some people didn't. A P1 fan is everybody here, right? Hardcore wrestling fan, very much into it. They go to indie shows, they buy the merch, they go to wrestling events, they do all this stuff. Those guys, there's only a certain amount of those available. So anywhere from 350,000 to 500,000 real wrestling fans. Unfortunately, you can't build, that's a great core, but you can't build your brand on only 300,000 people. We saw what happened with Lucha Underground when they were doing, low numbers. We see what Impact was doing 300,000, and everybody said how terrible that is. And they were on a crap channel. So you need to bring in, upwards of 500,000 plus. 600,000, 700,000, 1 million. I don't know if AEW will do 1 million on Turner, but you need to bring in the P2 guys. The P2s are the casual fans. Those P3s are the ones channel surfing that turn it on when they see, Becky Lynch yelling at John Cena. These are the people that you kind of need to build a brand, because they could convert to a hardcore fan. You're not going to, there's only so much you could do. So we have to think, for AEW to be successful, they need to think storylines. They need to think overall presentation. They need to talk about marketing, and being on a Turner. Again, this is all hearsay at this point, but very likely they have an ability to cater to those P2s and P3s when there's a basketball game on or there's another event on. And during the NBA Finals or whatever, just give an example, they say, tune into AEW Wrestling this Saturday, running a special, blah, 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 blah. That's all you need. And USA doesn't even do that for WWE, barely. We saw Fox do it with a football game where Joe Buck is telling you that SmackDown is coming, which that's part of that Fox deal also, that you're going to have a lot of crossover with other Fox events. So there's so much more than just putting on a really good match. There's so much more than just having good TV. That's the reality of it. Having Jericho there brings you name recognition that a lot of people know. So people will turn that dial on and say, oh my God, Chris Jericho's not in WWE. Forget what he's done in Japan, because that's a very small group of people. But Kenny Omega, Kenny Omega will be a great cheerleader for AEW for the hardcore fan. Now, the hope is that you build on a guy like Kenny Omega. I'm not looking to work in pro wrestling. I work with Capital Wrestling already, and that's the only wrestling I'm gonna do. That's the only people that I want to work with right now. If AEW wants me to work for them, then they could call me. I don't like having a job. I like being my own independent worker. Jericho's great signing. You could get fellow legends. Yeah, I anticipate a lot more of these guys to go over there. Here's a list of some free agents AEW could sign: Puma King, Chris Sabin, Aerostar, Jack Evans, Angelico, DJZ, Pillars of Destiny. Ibushi's going to be involved, but Ibushi's not going to sign a contract. He refuses to commit to a brand, which I applaud him for that. AEW needs CM Punk. I don't think the communication is open with him. That 48-year-old Jericho. Listen, 48-year-old Jericho is a name recognition. He's not going to be the top. He shouldn't be the world champion. But you know what? The match that he had with Naito was phenomenal. The match that he had with Kenny Omega was really good. He's putting on good matches. CM Punk is a great free agent. You want to stick it to WWE, you go to their major competitor. Never say never with that. That's a lot of people are saying no, CM Punk's never going to go. I would not bet money that he won't. The P2 will come if they get great TV deal with TNT or something along the. Yes, P2s will come, and that's how you build your product. Impact. Someone in the chat would know. What was the highest rated Impact that they ever had? $1 million? $1.2 million? Somebody would know this. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I want to say $1.2 million for some reason. And that was at a point that wrestling was still kind of happening, right? It was still the remnants of that of the 90s boom that was still lingering. It's wild. And the other thing, here's the other thing for some wrestling history. A lot of those WCW fans, right? Like WCW was getting like 3 million or 2.9 million viewers or 3.5 million viewers, whatever it was, right? Impact did 2 million? I don't know about that. So when WCW was doing like 2 million or whatever, the WWE, and this is honestly their mindset was, oh my God, we're gonna go get like a 30% boost in our ratings, a 20% boost in our ratings. All those guys are now gonna come over. All those WCW fans, because they had a weird algorithm that they were calculating how many people switch from WWE to WCW and based on quarter hour numbers. So they had this weird math that they had come up with, this fakakta math that said that there's X amount of WCW fans that are that we need to get those guys, because now we're gonna build our brand off of those. We're gonna reintroduce wrestling to them, and they're gonna become WWE fans. You know what happened with those guys? They never once tuned in. They left. They were gone. They disappeared. And it's a big mystery in wrestling, especially in TV. Where do they go? Where do those WCW fans go? TNA's biggest rating was in 2011. It was a 1.17 rating. Was that the rating or was that the viewership? It could have been 2 million views at a 1.17 rating, which, man, for a wrestling company, if AEW does 2 million viewers, they're gold. I mean, that's like chasing the WWE to a number one slot for television. That's very high. I can't anticipate them to ever do that, especially now. I shouldn't say ever, but right now they won't do that. But I can see them coming close to 1 million at some point. That I can. Guys, I'm going to hang out with you for a little bit because this is a lot of fun. So send your questions. I'm enjoying chatting with you guys. And I don't think we've done this before, live breaking news like this, but I think we're going to start doing this a little bit more because I like hearing from the side of WWE fans. Some people don't like AEW. I'm all about giving it an opportunity. Now, for the people that didn't like AEW, my question to you is, did you watch All In and did you enjoy All In? That's a good question. Or do you watch New Japan? Can you see Vince? Can you see Vince bought Impact after? Can you see Vince buying Impact after? They've had conversations over the tape library, but there's no reason to own Impact for them. I know that they are still somewhat discussing doing some sort of exchange for rights, for television rights. For archival rights. AEW only attracts P1 viewers right now. Yes, that's what that is exactly what it's attracting, is a P1 viewer. So you have anywhere from 300 to 500,000 on the high end. So the hope would be to get great promotion. So back to that though, great example. They can build on that if they have a marketing arm. If you have the money being invested, like the rumor of $100 million, you have enough resources to extend your marketing arm to really push and build and push and build and have a partnership with the network with where Turner, for example. Again, we're just using Turner as an example because it's likely. That's what we're doing. You could have Turner as an example, go and do all this cross promotion on all their other content, and you'll have more than a P1. You'll get people that said, you know what, I watched wrestling years ago. I want to see what this is about. If it looks good, but that one show, that's the other thing, right? That first show, you can never get it back. So those mistakes that you could potentially get on when you're a year in, you cannot get in with on that first show, because every critic, all those critics are going to watch AEW and say, you know what, they want this to fail. I know for a fact, I'm positive that there are people that watching this right now, and they don't want AEW to be successful because they're WWE fans, and that's fine. But this is, even me, listen, I cover this, right? If I see AEW looks like crap, I'm going to say, oh my God, they don't have their crap together here. Right? And that's going to be the vibe going forward. I can't see that happening considering how well put together All In was. And All In was put together with the Ring of Honor guys. A lot of the Ring of Honor production staff was there, and it was a team effort there, but Ring of Honor played a major part in All In. You could tell by their camera shots and their jibs and all that stuff, but it looked great. I mean, it was very impressive. So if you have Turner Sports producing your show, operating your camera, putting your packages together, I think you'll have a little bit better of a package than what they did. Last week's edition of TNA Impact scored a 1.41 television rating with 1.9 million. By the way, this is not last week. This is a couple of years ago, right? Officially broke the 2 million mark for the first time since January 4th special live. So the live special I know did well. So it did do 1.9 million. That is very impressive. But again, that was a time when people were looking at them and saying, oh, they couldn't even do 2 million? I hope AEW isn't PG. By the way, I want to remind everybody, WCW was PG, and Raw was PG for a very long time, even during that Attitude Era. Many portions of Raw was PG. So the PG rating is not ruining wrestling. I'm telling you guys. It's not what... you know what it is? We as fans don't want to say like what we watch is terrible, so we like to come up with excuses, and PG's one of them. PG's not the reason why the product is as bad as it is. You could write great TV on a PG program. And by the way, you could push the bar a little bit on a PG program. They choose not to. They choose not to, but they'll eventually have to be forced to be a little bit more adult when the ratings start sliding even more. That's what it really comes down to. Guys, hit the subscribe button. This is awesome. I'm loving this. Right on the bottom of the page there. For people who don't know, if this is the first time, we do a live show every week on Thursday mornings, and it's released, obviously, here on YouTube and everywhere podcasts are available. This is the first time I'm doing a breaking news like this, just all on my own. So I really deeply appreciate you guys hanging out and talking. WWE wasn't PG-14. No, it was TV-14, but it didn't get to that point till later. So Electrify Radio says you need great writers. Yes, or you allow the wrestlers to come up kind of with their own storyline and talk on their own. You know, WWE storylines is not the worst. It's the verbiage that they use. People don't speak that way. People don't stand at an angle. First of all, you want to know the most awkward example of the way that positioning is. 2 weeks ago, AJ Styles storms in to the McMahon office, right? So Vince is sitting, Shane is sitting next to him, And AJ doesn't know how to position his body, so he's facing this way, and his body is shifted towards the camera. And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, who stands that way? Who approaches somebody that way? It's shot in such a bizarre manner that I mean, there's no TV show that does that. There's no TV show, there's no sports, there's no boxing, no MMA, no wrestling. It's bizarre. So I think it'll be a fresh air for all of us when we see they're not doing that, and the guys are going and cutting out their own promos and running it by and saying these are this is what we want to do. It's very weird how they do that. Do you think Kevin Steen would sign with AEW? Kevin Owens has a nice contract, but it's possible. The other thing is they need security also. So some of these guys have families, right? You leave now, AEW throws you, I don't know, $500,000. You got a wife and 2 kids. You go there for 2 years, and then the company starts falling apart. That's on the back of your mind. I'm not saying that's happening, but that would be on the back of my mind. Thinking, okay, what's going to be here in 2-3 years? WWE, or is it going to be AEW? Is Kenny Omega signed? No, Kenny Omega's not signed. I pray Jim Ross will be on commentary. I don't want Jim Ross on commentary. I think he should have a vital backstage role. I think we need some young guys. Justin Roberts should be their ring announcer. I don't know if it's happening or not. I haven't heard anything, but I know he did All In. He's phenomenal. AEW needs to be 2 hours, period. I heard 90 minutes. An hour to 90 minutes. I think an hour would be too short, and 90 minutes would be just fine. With commercials, it would be like a little over an hour. Need a better blend of sports and entertainment. WWE has lost the sports aspect. I agree with you. When I watched Lucha Underground, I couldn't believe I was so numb to WWE. Listen, that's me in Japan, right? I've always watched Japanese wrestling, but I never really covered it until it got really popular here in Western culture. But it's watching Wrestle Kingdom and then going and watching Raw. It's not even the same. Joey Styles. I don't know what Joey's going to do. I know Joey was going to work with Evolve, and he said something happened, and it went away. It's never good business. It's never good business when you have your wrestlers running the company. Look what happened to WCW. Yeah, but it's... I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, Charles. That's what I'm going to do. Hour 35, says somebody. I don't know what's an hour 35. Let's see. Tony Schiavone commenting on MLW. Yeah, Tony was out of it for a long time, and he came back, and he's doing good. So let's see what else here before we wrap it up here. AJ Styles would be a good fit for AEW, especially if he wants a lighter schedule. Yeah, I think AJ would be great, but I think he likes his WWE run. He's very comfortable. Tony's podcast is solid. Yeah, and Conrad is great. Conrad does a great job on all these shows. Spoken to him a couple times. He's a very gracious guy. Isn't Fox demanding WWE more sporty? Yes, they are, but they're also demanding that they get 3.5-4 million viewers, which right now they're doing 2. That's 100% increase in viewership. Come on. I think WWE is also resting on the fact that it's a network and not cable, so you have more viewers there. Joe, thank you, man. Super user funding me £5 here. Any news on which WWE talent contracts are up during 2019? Nakamura. That's a big one. Revival, Zack Ryder, Gallows and Anderson, just to name a few. I got to look at my list. I actually have a list of this that somebody provided me. I have to find it. It's somewhere in a document. Guys, actually, that's awesome. You guys, you found a super user. That's awesome. Love that. I don't know what I could do with this now. What do I do with the super user fund? That's freaking great. I don't even have my console open here. We're going to take questions for 5 more minutes. But guys, obviously, huge help. You guys hit subscribe here on the show. Hit the subscribe button down there. And, we love participating with you guys. And we consider ourselves happy wrestling fans. We don't shit on everything. Obviously, when it's bad, it's bad. But when it's good, we like to talk about it. My co-host Rich couldn't be here today because this was very last second. But we're going to be doing a show on Thursday also. Do you think a former ECW superstars will sign with the AEW? I don't know what they could do. I mean, they're not young anymore, these guys. You know, we can't fill it up. RVD, maybe. I mean, it's fine if he comes and does something. You know, come and do something, that's fine. But you can't have him under contract like that. I normally watch Twitch and GFQ. Should I be watching on YouTube? Yeah, you watch on YouTube. It doesn't matter. Wherever you watch, but hit the subscribe button. That's what helps. What all belts do you predict AEW to have? So, obviously tag, obviously world. I don't know if they'll do a TV title. Less is more sometimes. You got to look at how they're building it, right? Marty's going to build the cruiserweights, the light heavyweight, whatever they call it. He'll be there. Hangman is on the heavyweight. The Young Bucks are in tag. So maybe they'll do a lightweight title. I think if they did a lightweight, a heavyweight, and tag, they're good. I don't know. Do you guys agree? Do you guys think that they should have a secondary title, like a TV title or North American title? For the love of God, no Bully Ray. Said somebody. They should sign Ryback. You know what's really funny? Somebody brought him up like 4 times to me. That kind of is in the business, and it worried me a little. TV title would be cool, actually. Yeah, maybe a TV title. And a women's title. I apologize, I forgot about that. Will this be on TV? Yes, it'll be on TV. It'll be on, most likely, a major network. In order to attract P2s, you need to water down the product to get on PG. No, you don't need to water it down. You don't need to water it down because guess what? WWE did great with P2s during the Attitude Era. In the boom period. So that's majority of the audience was P2s anyway. People that just watch, and then when they're bored, they're done. That's a P2. No commitment. They just watch. They don't go to wrestling matches. They put it on every Monday because it's on TV, and they watch it and they talk about it the following day. That's a P2 also. We're not talking about people that just watch TV. You know, I'm a P1. You're a P1. That's talking right now. This is P1s. Enzo going to AEW. I don't know. I don't know if he is even spoken of. AEW needs to immediately hire the all-in sound guy. The press conference did sound terrible. As an audio guy, someone in broadcasting, I have to tell you it was terrible. My audio is terrible right now, so I shouldn't criticize them. I gotta fiddle with this stuff. Something happened here. I'd like to see Bram in AEW. Is Double or Nothing purely going to be an AEW roster, or is it going to be more? That's a phenomenal question. I'm assuming that if you are on that Double or Nothing card, you are more likely going to be signed by them. I don't know, like, for example, I don't know what that means for Ibushi. Also, you know who else might be? I've heard rumors of Kenta going back to Japan, but you know who's a great example? And again, let's speculate, right? Let's have fun with this. Nakamura. So obviously, his run has been very lackluster in the WWE. Very. To the point of disappointment, right? He came in, had one of the greatest debut matches I've ever seen on that card in the WWE. Him and Sami Zayn in NXT was really single-handedly one of the best debut matches. And he was Nakamura. He wrestled like Nakamura. He did everything. It was phenomenal. Then, much like every other person, you start adapting to the WWE way. You start changing your style. And he realized something that a lot of people do that are charismatic, that he doesn't have to kill himself and he doesn't have to work at 100%. His character's over. And that's what he did for majority of his NXT run. He is lacklustered. Now you threw me off with that, Armand. Jeez. He didn't really do anything in the WWE in the main roster either. He should have won the title. That would have been the moment to pull the trigger. They gave him Rumble. He had the main event at He had the world title match at WrestleMania and he did nothing. He did a low blow and that was it. So now You have him have, he lost the U.S. title, so obviously he's not champion anymore. But you kind of hurt it, right? You took all the momentum out. You sucked all the energy out of him. Can he recover in AEW? Don't say it's WCW, please. Can he recover in AEW? I don't know. I'm telling you right now, he doesn't want to go back to Japan because he relocated his family here, and that's a major pain in the ass. That's a real pain. So, I think for the sake of everything, if he stays with WWE, that's potential. But if he does if he does leave, AEW would be possibly an option for him. That makes more sense than going back to Japan. At that point, he'll be 39. Yeah, it's a lot of it. It's too many cooks. The amount of matches on Double or Nothing. I don't know. Well, we already have one, right? Pac and Hangman. Which that'll be a great match. Maybe Kenny and somebody else. Kenny and Jericho. Is it true that Goldberg signed? No, Goldberg has not signed with AEW. Goldberg followed them because he has the same agent as Chris Jericho, and Barry Bloom is working with AEW. Kenny Omega's too good for WWE. I don't think so. I think they're all great. They could do something great with him. I know that Pentagon is having a big bid amongst everybody. Pentagon and Phoenix, but they're a package deal. So Impact offer them 6-figure salary, low 6 figures, and I don't think they're gonna take it. I think AEW would be the best place to go, but I don't know. What's their Lucha Underground deal? Isn't it till 2020? I don't know how that works with their Lucha Underground deals. Maybe there's a loophole. Maybe they could leave. I don't know. Do you think Ziggler will finally take the plunge? No, because he just signed a long contract for a lot of money. Ziggler signed a very long contract. Keep doing stuff like this is awesome. Thanks. Knock versus Bryan at WrestleMania 35. Maybe. I'd be okay with that. I'd be very okay with that. All right. It is time to wrap it up. I am doing a podcast. I'm a guest on a podcast in about an hour, so I have to prep for that. Will this be a weekly show like Raw? Yes, it will. It'll be a weekly live show. So then it has to be either based in the same place or touring. I don't know. Billy Gunn is AEW. Do you reckon? And it just jumped. Where'd it go? You reckon Road Dogg will join? No, Road Dogg is prominent position WWE backstage. I think AEW should keep sending timers to wrestlers. I think AEW should keep sending timers. That's how they announce it. I think as a wrestling fan, all this does is give you more options to watch quality matches. I'm looking forward to watching this crash and burn. Love it. Yeah, absolutely. Do you think AEW would become more popular than Ring of? Yes, it'll automatically become more popular than Ring of Honor and New Japan based on their TV deal. Lucha Bros, Lucha Underground deal will be done by 2019. Excellent. Lucha Underground will not be able to financially compete with AEW. They don't compete with anybody. They're their own thing. It's really weird. And they had a lot of potential to do a lot of stuff. They should become a touring company, but they did not want it to pull that trigger. They just wanted to stay as a TV show. And remember, Lucha Underground, for all the great wrestling, they have like wacky storylines, and people die, and they get resurrected, and then witches arrive, and they're like 800 years old. Brian Cage would be great in AEW. I agree with you. Great chat, Andrew. Hey, great chat with you. Ziggler isn't signed. No, Ziggler is signed with WWE for a long time. Think Mick Foley will go to AEW? I don't know. I haven't heard that name. Would the SEW use the NWA World Title for their SEW? AEW? No. They're not affiliated with NWA. The Revival, I would be betting money on that. Gallows and Anderson, I would bet money on it. Treehouse Vince, I would bet money on. Double or Nothing should get TV time. It's going to be a pay-per-view. Ziggler is so stale at this point. AEW could use Enzo. They could use Enzo. Absolutely, they could use Enzo. I fear the higher-level indie guys, indies, ROH, MLW, PWG, if they... I think here's going to be the thing, right? I understand why Ring of Honor doesn't want to team up with them. PWG is its own thing, right? They don't do TV. They do their shows. They barely do any kind of digital stuff. So I'm not concerned for them. MLW and Ring of Honor are the two that are going to get really hit. And it goes down the food chain, right? MLW doesn't have the resources that Ring of Honor does, so they're going to grab those guys. And it's just going to become an endless cycle. Some people obviously are going to put their foot. Where are they putting their foot? Where are they putting their foot? They're gonna put their foot on the ground and say, "I'm not going anywhere," because they're loyal to the brand. But for most of these guys, they want. Listen, you're a wrestler. Like, I'll give you a great example. Brian Pillman Jr., right? Brian Pillman Jr. has some buzz with him. He's young. He has a look. He's not bad. He has the name. This guy could become somebody in AEW. He could become somebody in MLW. He could become someone in Ring of Honor. So where would you go if you're him? If AEW calls, like Joey Janela, this guy could be a big star. Also, MJF is going to be a big star in this company. How is PWG so over on the internet again? They're over because they cater to a very small group of people that are very vocal, and they only allow X amount of people to go see their events. Like 200, 300 people see it. So then the demand is so high that people now want tickets for PWG, even though you could see PWG matches in numerous promotions. Isn't Hall's son wrestling? He was, but I haven't seen much of Cody Hall. Kenny Omega still under contract with New Japan until the 31st. Yes. Chris Jericho has to be one of the most important figures in pro wrestling. Chris Jericho's really turned into like a Terry Funk with these young guys. He's really become a leader for a lot of them. MJF is cringy. That's the whole point. Kushida going to NXT. Yep. I'd honestly want to see Pete Dunne in AEW. Listen, a lot of these UK guys also, the contracts, they're not very long-term, so I would be very surprised to see them not going. Marty Scurll in April, by the way, he's also going. He just has a contract. He has an extension with the Ring of Honor, and he's going to fulfill it. And you could tell how weird that stable is with PCO. I don't know anything about David Benoit in his wrestling. I know he's young, and I know he's starting to, but I don't know how good he is. I don't know what he's done. So I really can't comment on him. I don't know much about what he's been doing. I put in David Benoit, and a jazz pianist comes up, and I don't think that's the same David Benoit. I highly doubt that is. All right, guys. So here's the deal. I'm going to be back on Thursday doing Mat Men. Genuinely appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This was awesome. If this was your first time, if this wasn't your first time, hit the subscribe button, because we're going to be doing a lot of breaking news content, and we're trying to build this YouTube group here, because this was awesome. The chat is bumping, and I'm loving it. Also, thank you to the guy that funded us. If you want to fund us, you could hit the dollar button and fund us there. You can show your support for the show. If not, that's cool too. AEW should make Mat Men their official podcast. No, I would not want that. I don't want to be affiliated with a company, because then I can't talk freely. When you get paid, you can't talk freely. That's the reality of it. What's the situation with Will Ospreay? Will Ospreay is committed to Japan for a while. BWO Stevie Richards here he is. You're a personal friend of mine, Michael Manna. Actually, Stevie's probably calling me a Mark right now. Yo, no beeps. No, the beep is gone, my brother. There's no beep here. For people who don't know, I have Fios, and the box with the backup battery fell behind my wall, and I couldn't get to it, and it's been beeping for like 6 months. And I finally got to it, and I shut the beep off. All right, Ken Shamrock to AEW. Yeah, you can't have these old guys there, man. I think it's cool to show up and be like, hey, what's going on? But that's about it. All right, now I got to go. All right, boys and girls. This was awesome. Remember, guys, go to our website. You can subscribe to the podcast also. If you want to listen to the podcast, we're everywhere podcasts are available. iTunes, Google Music, Spotify. Look for us, Mat Men Podcast, on there. It's always awesome when we build a community. I love seeing all these new people in here. I really a lot of great names. Zack Sabre Jr. AEW. Possibly Tama Tonga to AEW. I don't know. Maybe. These guys are getting, by the way, Japan is doing everything to lock these guys to 2 to 3 year deals. So these 1 year deals are out the window. The old traditional Japanese way of doing a 1 year contract is gone. Over. I was the one that tweeted you, but scared me during my drive. That's you. Sorry, man. Sorry. Andrew, all hail Deacon. All hail Deacon. He's out of his mind. All right, guys, hit the subscribe button. We'll be back. Conrad is involved with AEW. I don't know exactly in what capacity, but he is. All right, I love this. Listen, Thursday morning, we're back at 10 o'clock. I know it's a weird time, but we do the show in the mornings. If you want to stay tuned for that, you can do that. Hey, follow me on Twitter. If you have more questions, follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarian. That's Andrew, Zarian. Follow me there, and of course, Matt Men Podcast. Anyone know where I can score some histogen? You gotta ask Spencer Coburn that, my friend. Philip Baker. You want to get histogen? That's hysterical. We got an old school Ball Truth fan here. That's wild. All right, guys. That's it for this week. Love all of you. And I'll see you next time. Take care.